So, since Friday the 13th just passed, it hit me, why don't I do a video review on the movies? Since there are like way too many of them, I decided to cram, all into one. So it'll be a franchise video review. So, why don't I start to where how I was introduced to this franchise? I was 7 years old and I was over at a friend's house. It was a sleepover. I was like running around downstairs, um, in my Superman cape, and him and his brother and their cousin all stopped playing, and he went to sit down and watch Friday the 13th Part 6. And 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 then he eventually told me, "Get in here and watch Jason with us." I'm like, "What kind of a fucking name of a movie is that?" I mean, like, but I sat down and I watched it with them, and I'm like, "Okay, this seems a bit interesting." Okay, and sometime after, I'd say maybe months after, like around maybe during summer vacation, I had my mom rent the VHS for me, and I sat through the whole thing from beginning to end. Now my OCD didn't kick in like to where I had to watch movies in order. So I didn't watch them in order. I jumped from six to seven to eight to one to two. so so when I got to part one, I was too young to appreciate it, but I was really disappointed that Jason was not the killer in that movie. That it was his mom. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I wanted Jason to be the killer, not his bitch of a mother. I mean, she was but as I watch it as an adult, I mean, I have a stronger appreciation for that movie because that's what started the whole thing, and and I have a stronger appreciation to to Mrs. Voorhees, and it's really, I mean, it's really interesting, and like one of the funny things I found about part two is, other than Jason did not have the accurate look that we know he has, but he was like some crazy farmer dude with a sack over his head. Why, what the fuck? But another thing that was funny to me was how anyone can put on his mother's sweater and then yell at him and say, "Mother's talking to you. Kneel down. You have done well, Jason. Mommy's pleased." Um, let's say if I did that, I mean, I guess I could probably get away with it. But I don't know. I mean, those are just minor nitpicks, and then they didn't bother me. I just found them pretty funny. And Jason had facial hair and long hair, and for that matter. And then when part three comes around, he's completely bald and shaved and everything. And I'm like, what? I mean, explain to me how that's true, unless he snuck behind back and started to say, "Oh, ding 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 ding, shave, 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 ding ding ding, time for a haircut, ding 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 ding." I'm like, I mean, that was another flaw within those. I mean, within the beginning of those movies and the beginning of the franchise. But what ended the franchise for me was part four. Um, I wanted to go on and on and on, just like every other fan did, like at that time. But as I got older, I'm like, part four should have been the last one, and that was the last one for me. That's where the franchise ended, and then it just you try to flush it down the shitter, and then it just comes back up, and it's like out of the toilet and everything. That's what the franchise did, like after they try to do more things with it, and then they have an imposter Jason like in part five. I mean, what, that's some fucking bullshit. And I think people were really, really, really pissed off about that, and that's when they decided to bring Jason back from the dead, and and just do whatever you want. I mean, just make sure it's the real Jason. That's all. And I mean, yeah, and the worst movies, like in that franchise for me is probably part eight, Jason Takes Manhattan. Ugh, what the fuck were they thinking? And Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah, I know some of you may agree, some of you may not, but Jason was hardly in that movie, and I had a serious, serious problem with that. Not to mention that his name was in the fucking title of the movie, Jason Goes to Hell. I mean, like, but I did. like when he was attacked by the SWAT team and then they blew him up. I'm like, whoa, that was a quick movie. What the fuck? That was one of my favorite deaths of Jason in any movie. My favorite, number one favorite had to be the final chapter in part four. Like when he got the machete in his eye and then his head slid, would slide down the blade. I'm like, ooh, that was pretty freaking awesome. And let's face it, Tommy killed his ass. I mean, he was killing him to the point where the adrenaline was high, and he was demolishing them. He was butchering them until there was nothing left. I mean, you saw how many times he was hitting him with that machete, telling him to die. Like, die, die, Tommy, die, die. I mean, like, come on. Anyone, like who's going crazy, while they're killing somebody, yeah, they're not going to stop until there's nothing left. So, I would just call bullshit of how, it looks like he was not, like there was not that much damage done to him. I mean, like more than how they should have been. Like where, yeah, he cut his arm off and his this and then that and then that, and he cut his head off and da 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 da, or whatever. But yeah, I also like I mean, believe it or not, I like the remake. I thought it was done really well. I mean, it lived up to what Friday. It brought you back to what the Friday the 13th franchise. What was great about it, and and the, and I'm actually glad they didn't make a sequel to that. I mean, like I'm kind of like, oh man, I hope they make a sequel. But now I'm like, okay, it stands on its own, just like how they originally intended with the original movie, where they had no intentions of making sequels or whatnot. They just wanted to make a good horror movie. The fans were like, yeah, we want a sequel. We want to know what happens from here. We want to know if Jason actually lived, And then turns out that he did, and then he was a grown ass man at that time during the events of part one. I was really confused, when I watched both of those movies, one and two, and when I was little. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Huh? What? How much time went by? Is it like 10 years or something? But no, it was like months. Months went past. I think so. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think this franchise, knocked down the floodgates of my interest in the horror genre, and I mean, like, I wish I could have watched them in order instead of the way I did when I was younger, so I would have, I don't know, if my friends were to try to make me watch this franchise now, I would say I need to start at the beginning. I need to start with part one of this franchise. Seriously, and yeah, my favorite, like my favorite character and one of my favorite, characters has to be Crazy Ralph. Like, Camp Blood has got a death curse. You're all doomed. You're all doomed. It's funny enough that he couldn't take his own fucking advice in the sequel. Like, what the fuck? You're telling these kids that they're doomed. They need to get away. They need to stay away, from Camp Blood or whatever. But yet you're hovering around, in the area that you tell them to stay out of, and then Jason just kills you, like for being a peeping tom. So good job, Ralph. R.I.P. to the actual actor, but I'm talking to the character. But I mean that first maybe started Kevin Bacon's career, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, like, and he had the best death in the movie and probably in the franchise, probably. Even though it's like probably I don't really have an actual favorite death really. That would be one of them definitely, but I don't know if it would be my number one. I don't know. I have to think about that. But I mean, yeah, it's based, like Halloween inspired this, for this to happen. It was like paving a way for horror movies. Like what like how they were at that time, and they have all these holiday like movies coming out like this happened on this day, this happened on this day, and like like this happened on Friday the 13th, and then that's it's pretty it was pretty crazy, and I just I missed horror movies being like the way like how they were back then. I wish they would bring it back to the slasher. I missed the slasher genre. That's what I would call it. It was done really well, even though I mean It started off great and then it went down the shitter. But the only movie that I could accept that is really bad is Jason X. I think that was, I think it's really corny as fuck and it's not meant to be taken seriously. I don't even think it's meant to scare anyone. But you can still have fun watching it. I have fun watching it. I mean, I think it's pretty funny. I mean, like, I want to watch this again. It's some funny ass shit. And it took them like 2 years to actually release it in the U.S. Like a nationwide, worldwide release of that movie. And I mean, I don't know. I think that's about it. I think that's all I wanted to break down on on these movies. And I have a stronger appreciation for the franchise now. Like of how it started, like 1 through 4. And you know what's funny? I think if I'm not mistaken, the parts 2, 3 through 4 happened all within a few days, if not through the entire weekend. I think from Friday to probably Monday or maybe Tuesday, something like that. So that's pretty crazy. That it all happened within like in 1 year, and like it's like in in different movies, but that's all in like 1 year from part 2 to part 4. That's pretty interesting to me, and like it just went off like after that, having a very lighthearted sequel of part 5, and then have all these time skips and like 10 years later, 10 years later. I mean, what are you doing with this? It doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, and I'd say it's one of my favorite franchises, and it's one of my favorite. Jason Voorhees is one of my favorite. Killers. He's in my top favorite. Horror icons. So yeah, which Friday the 13th was your favorite, and which one was your least favorite? Which one did you think was the worst? Which movie destroyed the franchise for you? Let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, thumb up the video. Make sure you click subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all. You're all doomed.